Welcome back with me again with Mr. Ahmad Yudi Wahyudin in quantitative research class. Previously, we have talked about the introduction to quantitative classroom research. We also have discussed the definition of classroom research, understanding research variables, quantitative research problems. And today, we would like to discuss more about the quantitative research designs and research analysis. Before we talk further about the discussions, don't forget to subscribe YouTube channel Kuliah Teknokrat, and please leave a comment and like our videos. Okay, viewers, previously we have talked about quantitative classroom research. So I would like to remind you again that classroom research is a formal study of teaching and learning. It is related to know how far the student learns and how effective is the teaching. Today, we would like to discuss about quantitative research designs. According to Hatch and Farhadi 1982, in Setiadi 2018, also Mackey and Gas 2021, quantitative research designs can be in the form of three designs as follows. The first is experimental design, the second is time series design, and the third is ex post facto design. Let's discuss one by one each design. The first is experimental designs. In experimental designs, a researcher or the teacher try to implement a treatment. The treatment is defined as the actions that is done by the teachers or researchers in order to affect the students' learning outcome. The treatment can be the use of teaching methods, strategies, and techniques, and also can be the use of media in English teaching. In experimental designs, there are several choices of design that we can choose. The first is comparisons, pretest and post-test designs. The second is control group pretest and post-test designs. And the last one is one group pretest and post-test design. We can discuss one by one each design in experimental research. The first is comparison, pretest, and post-test design. Comparisons designs try to compare different methods or different media that the teacher would like to investigate. And comparison means the researcher or the teacher use two classes. For each classes, there will be different treatments. For example, for a problem like this, you can see here, is there any difference of students' reading comprehensions after taught by Google Classrooms and Edmodo? So in this case, there are two treatments that are being compared. And you can take a look at the design. The design in comparisons consists of class A, T1, X1, T2. Class B, T1, X2, T2. What does it mean? T1 means pretest. T2 means post-test. Pretest is a preliminary test that is designed to measure the initial capability of the students, in this case, reading comprehension. While post-test is the test that is used to measure the improvements of students' reading comprehensions. While X1 is the treatment in which in the class A, the teacher decided to use Google Class. While in class B, for X2 or the second treatment, the teaching is equipped with Edmodo. So the two types of learning apps here are being compared in comparison pretest and post-test design. Let's jump to the next experimental designs applications, which is control group pretest and post-test design. Control group pretest and post-test design is used to know the significance of the treatments. Similar to comparisons designs, control group pretest and post-test design use two classes or two groups. The difference is control group is used as a matter of comparisons in which the researcher would like to make sure that the treatment in experimental class or class A is really effective or give a real effect to the student's ability. So you can here see the design. Class A, T1, X1, T2. Class B, T1, O, T2. T1 means pretest, T2 means post-test. X1 is a treatment in class A. It is a teaching with Zoom presentation, for example. And O here is not necessarily means as a zero treatments, but it is ordinary method commonly used before the use of the treatments today. So once again, control group pretest and post-test design is used to make sure that the treatments conducted in class A or experimental class really affect the students' learning outcome. So for example, whether or not the Zoom presentations can affect positively and significantly student speaking ability. Now let's discuss the last but not least, the application of experimental designs, which is one group pretest and post-test design. Different from two previous designs, this design only use one class. For example, the problems related to whether or not Zoom presentations can affect students' speaking ability during COVID-19 pandemic can be researched and investigated through this design. Class A, T1, X1, T2. So it is only one class, and in one group pretest and post-test designs, the analysis focus on the improvement of students' ability from pretest to post-test. But in classroom research, 2 classes are more recommended because it gives certain assurance that treatment that is used has been compared and significantly investigated. So those are the application of experimental designs, and let's jump to the next design in quantitative classroom research. It is time series design. So if you heard the name of time series designs, you can assume that this design consists of series of tests. Yes, time series designs, even though it is implemented in one class, the researcher should implement series of tests to know the improvements of students' learning outcome. For example, is there any effect of group works toward the student's speaking ability? So in this case, the researcher would like to confirm whether speaking ability is improved with the support of group work. In time series design, the formulated design can be seen as follows. Class A, T1, O, T2, O, T3, X, T4, X, T5, X, T6. So T1 until T6 is the series of tests. In time series designs, the research is conducted longer because this research allows the researcher to implement different types of treatment in one class. For example, in this case, the researcher tried to use ordinary method or independent learning method in the beginning, and later the researcher or teacher would like to implement group works for the treatment to improve student learning outcome, in this case, student speaking ability. So, O symbols means the ordinary teaching method, and X means the treatments that we would like to apply in the group or in a class. So in time series designs, we can compare the result of the implementation of the first method, and it is continued by the implementation of the second method. And at last, we can see how well the improvement of the teaching and learning process. Let's discuss the last designs in quantitative classroom research. It is ex post facto design. One of the examples of ex post facto design is correlational study. It is the study to confirm and to seek whether there is any relations between variables being investigated. For example, is there any relationship between students' motivations and learning performance? So, the design of this correlational study can be written as follows. X1, X2. X1 means students' motivations. X2 means students' learning achievement, or we can choose like students' listening performance. The differences between correlational study and experimental design is that this correlational study is not a causal effect. It is rather than a relational study to seek the tendency of certain phenomenon in relation to another aspect. For example, does student motivation correlate with listening comprehensions or listening performance? By using correlational study, we can look at the result as follows. If the student's motivation is high, learning achievement or listening performance can also be high. It means that there is a positive correlation between those two variables. Okay, students and viewers, we have talked 3 discussions today. The first is about experimental design. The second is about time series design. And the last is about ex post facto designs. I would like to remind you again that experimental designs consist of 3 types of designs: comparisons, pretest and post-test designs, control group pretest and post-test designs, and one group pretest and post-test design. And in time series designs, it is different from previous designs or experimental designs. In time series designs, we use multiple tests, multiple series of tests in a one class. Another type of design is ex post facto designs. And the sample of the design in this case is correlational study, in which we can seek the relationship between 2 variables being investigated in classroom settings. For example, we can check whether there is any correlation between students' motivations and also learning achievements. So that's all about the online learning today. I hope that you can get a clear picture about quantitative classroom research. We will continue the discussions about quantitative classroom research, focusing on the research data analysis. Once again, I would like to recommend you to subscribe Kuliah Teknokrat channels and also leave a comment and like our videos. Thank you very much. Have a great day.